Welcome back to A World Gone Mad, the place where the news doesn't break, it shatters into 1,000 pieces and gets scooped up by lobbyists, pundits, and whatever soulless ghoul is in charge of spinning the headlines this week. I'm Jeff Allen Wolfe, your guide through this collapsing carnival we're all trapped in, where the rides are falling apart, the operator's drunk, and somebody keeps yelling freedom as the bolts fly off. Sure, you could ignore it all, binge watch reality TV about people arguing over countertops. But you're here, which means you still give a damn. And that's a dangerous thing in a country built on distraction. And speaking of distraction, welcome to WTF Wednesday. Or as the real people understand it, what the fuck Wednesday? Because seriously, what the fuck is going on? If you're new here, this is the midweek episode where I rip the gloves off, unhook the handbrake, and plow headfirst into the madness. No filter, no mercy, just the news torn apart and blasted everywhere like confetti at a kid's birthday party. So buckle up, because today's ride is going to be loud, messy, and very real. All right, let's kick this carnival of corruption off with a story so absurd it practically writes its own punchlines. Donald J. Trump, America's loudest victim, is suing Rupert freaking Murdoch and the Wall Street Journal for $10 billion. $10 billion with a B. Because apparently being president twice, dodging accountability like a circus acrobat, and owning an army of lawyers isn't enough. Now he wants Murdoch's lunch money too. And what triggered this? Well, the Journal reported that Trump doodled something obscene in a birthday card for Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, that Jeffrey Epstein. Donald's not denying his ties to him. He's denying his penmanship. This is like watching Darth Vader sue Voldemort for defamation, two villains trying to convince you which one's the real victim. But here's the thing. While it's tempting to just sit back and laugh at the sheer audacity of this, the stakes are real. This isn't about a headline that bruised his ego. This is Trump sending a shot across the bow of every journalist in America. Write something I don't like, and I'll bury you in court. I'll drown you in legal fees until you're begging for mercy. And if Trump's swinging at Rupert Murdoch, a man with more money than God, and lawyers stacked to the ceiling, what does this mean for the smaller outlets? The reporters without billion-dollar corporations behind them. They'll get flattened. They can't afford to fight a lawsuit this insane. This is lawfare. It's weaponizing the courts as a mafia bat. The same guy who spent years screaming fake news at anyone who told the truth is now trying to financially strangle the press into silence. And to top it off, Trump's demanding Murdoch's deposition be fast-tracked like it's the bonus round of The Apprentice. Bring me Rupert's head on a platter, and while you're at it, a cheeseburger and a Diet Coke? This is why this story matters. Because it's not just Trump versus Murdoch. It's a warning. If Trump can pull the stunt against one of the richest media empires on earth, the message to every journalist is clear. Cross me, I'll crush you. But sure, keep telling me the press is the enemy. This right here, this is how you muzzle the watchdog and padlock the gate. And while we're at it, here's another mindfuck from Donald the Delusional One. Because now, in the same breath, the guy is trying to rewrite history like a middle schooler caught cheating on a test. Trump is out here claiming that he was the victim of Jeffrey Epstein. Yes, that Epstein. Because Epstein supposedly, ready, stole women from Mar-a-Lago. You heard me right. Buckle your brain, because this one's the kind of deranged spin that makes you wonder if we're all living inside a bad soap opera. Donald Trump, the man whose name appears in Epstein's little black book more often than most people appear on their own calendars, wants you to believe he was robbed. This isn't just gaslighting. This is a 5-alarm blaze of bullshit. Trump's basically saying, sure, Epstein was a serial predator, but I'm the real victim here because he poached the staff from my spa. What is this, a Shark Tank pitch? Are we really talking about sexual exploitation like it's a corporate headhunting scandal? And let's be clear, when Trump says stole women, he's not talking about rescuing them. He's not talking about fighting Epstein. He's saying, I had first dibs. That's the vibe. It's grotesque. And yet he delivers it like he's describing someone stealing his fries at McDonald's. This is how Trump rewrites history in real time. He takes one of the ugliest scandals in modern American memory, a scandal he was neck deep adjacent to, and flips the script so suddenly, he's the victim. And you know what? There's a chunk of the country that will believe it because they want to, and because admitting otherwise would require a breaking up with their political cult. And that's harder than giving up Wi-Fi for a week. And that's the danger. This isn't just about one disgusting comment. It's about the broader pattern. Trump lies, distorts, spins, and enough people buy it that it becomes a shield against accountability. I didn't know Epstein. He barely knew me. Oh, wait, he stole my women. Yeah, Donald, that totally checks out. But sure, let's keep pretending this is normal political behavior and not the kind of deranged revisionism you'd expect from a dictator on his 5th rewrite of the state-approved history books. And the fact that he could say this out loud and not be buried under an avalanche of outrage, that's how you know we are deep in the upside down right now. And now we're moving from pornographic level political absurdity to something that could actually blow a hole in democracy. Grab a helmet, listener, because now we're diving into something that sounds boring enough to nap through, but it's actually a political nuke. Wolfpack listeners, please pay attention. Trump is going after something called the blue slip rule. I know, it sounds like a lost Smurf or a coupon for 30% off at Target. But trust me, this quiet little procedural move could bulldoze what's left of checks and balances. And of course, the only guy in his own party willing to call Trump out is Chuck Grassley, who's like 117 years old and probably still gets mail addressed to him from the Roman Empire? Here's why this matters. The blue slip rule is this boring sounding tradition in the Senate where home state senators can block judicial nominees they think are garbage. It's one of the few tools left, right, that keeps presidents from stacking the courts with their most unqualified, sycophantic cronies. And Trump, he wants it gone, obliterated, so he could jam through any judge he wants with anyone in Congress without anyone in Congress having the power to say, maybe the guy who thinks habeas corpus was a sandwich shouldn't get a lifetime appointment. This is how democracies get hollowed out, folks. Not with some big flashy coup, but with a procedural death by 1,000 cuts. And because blue chips sound as exciting as watching paint dry, most people don't even notice when the guardrails get ripped off. Now Grassley, who I'm pretty sure uses a quill pen and keeps his Medicare card in a vault, is calling Trump out saying, hey, this rule exists for a reason. But let's be real. Grassley is practically screaming into a void. Trump's followers aren't exactly rallying around Senate traditions, and half of Congress is too scared of a mean Truth Social post to stand up to him. If Trump succeeds here, the judiciary becomes his playground. He could pick the most extreme, least qualified judges imaginable and lock them in for decades. And once the courts are stacked, good luck challenging anything he does ever again. But sure, let's keep pretending this is some harmless bureaucratic tweak and not the kind of silent, system-rigging power grab that would make a dictator grin. And speaking of dictators grinning, let's jump across the Atlantic. Come on, everyone, join me. Okay, deep breath, because this next one is big. Because while we're busy playing demolition derby with our own democracy, the UK just dropped a geopolitical bomb that could reshape the entire Middle East. Britain has basically just told Israel, agree to a ceasefire in Gaza, take real steps toward a two-state solution, or we're officially recognizing Palestine as a state. And if you think this is a casual statement from UK, it's not. This is one of America's closest allies calling Israel's bluff. And it's a move that could change everything. And it's not some throwaway press release. This is the United Kingdom, a permanent member of the UN Security Council, and one of America's closest allies, laying down a marker on one of the most intractable conflicts on the planet. Prime Minister Keir Starmer didn't mince words. No ceasefire, no change in policy, no end to the humanitarian disaster in Gaza. Then the UK is breaking ranks with Israel and with us. Now let's be clear. Gaza is a humanitarian catastrophe right now. Thousands dead, families buried in rubble, children surviving on powdered milk and dirty water, if they're lucky. Hospitals running out of medicine. But sure, let's keep treating it like a both sides political talking point. This move by the UK is a shockwave because America has always been the firewall for Israel at the UN. We veto everything. We block everything. We block every single UN resolution that might actually hold Israel accountable. Then still call ourselves the defenders of democracy. We nod solemnly while Palestinian civilians get bombed out of their homes. We keep sending billions in weapons and calling it support for peace. Missiles and peace. What a combo. And then we send more weapons because, hey, that's what strong allies do. But Starmer is saying enough. He's daring Israel and by extension daring us to do something meaningful. To stop pretending we're for peace while we bankroll an endless war machine. He's making us look weak. And maybe that's the point. Because we have enabled this. We've let Netanyahu march deeper into authoritarianism, more settlements, more annexation, more blood in the streets, and we've called it defending democracy. And now for once, the hypocrisy is on display for the whole world. If Britain recognizes Palestine, others will follow. The EU, Latin America, Africa. Suddenly the US isn't the global superpower with the big stick. It's the rogue outlier clinging to a failed strategy while the world moves on without us. We're basically the guy at the party screaming, I'm the moral leader here, while everyone else is quietly edging toward the door. This is how foreign policy shifts overnight. It's not a treaty or a handshake photo op. It's a country with real weight saying, we are done enabling the cycle. And if you think this is some symbolic gesture, think again. Recognition of a Palestinian state changes the calculus at the UN. It strengthens their legal standing. It forces Israel to the table. We lecture the world about human rights, but apparently bombing apartment buildings full of families gets a special exemption if you're our ally. It forces America to answer some uncomfortable questions about why we talk about democracy and human rights while sending bombs to flatten apartment buildings full of families. Oh, and here's the kicker. Breaking news a couple of hours ago, right before my show, the Arab League, every single member, just told Hamas to put down their weapons and get out of power. That's unprecedented, listeners. It's basically the region, all of it itself, saying enough. And it mirrors exactly what the UK is demanding. End the chaos. Clear the way for a real Palestinian state, or the world moves on without America at the table. This is big. This is the world saying we're tired of the excuses, the spin, the endless bloodshed. And if you're not paying attention, you're going to wake up one morning and realize the world has moved on without us. And honestly, maybe it should. Okay, Wolfpack listeners, you have comments, rants, or emotional outbursts? Or maybe if you just send me a gift basket full of expired beef jerky and a note that says, Jeff, this is all you're worth. Because passive-aggressive snacks solve everything. And I also accept love letters, hate mail, and chew toys from your dog. Email me anytime, madworldtalk@gmail.com. madworldtalk@gmail. Write something brilliant. Write something unhinged. Write something that makes the FBI say, we should probably flag this. Or leave me a message on my 24/7 free voicemail line, 833-399-9653, toll free. Call and hear the part of a segment I had to cut. The one my legal team told me it's a little too honest, Jeff. Unfiltered, unedited, not available anywhere else. I'm dead serious. You need to call my voicemail box to hear this, that the legal team said no. It's not on Apple, not on Spotify, not even on Buzzsprout. 833-399-9653. I dare you. Let's see what listeners actually have some balls. This is bonus information for those that call. But if you don't leave a message after your call, you're just a ghost. Please back me up against my legal team. Also, please leave a review on Apple or Spotify. I'm asking you nicely. It's the only way this podcast gets noticed instead of buried. Without your stars and comments, Apple and Spotify assume I'm just some unstable guy yelling at pigeons in a Taco Bell parking lot. This has been A World Gone Mad. I'm Jeff Allen Wolf. I'll be back Friday because someone has to say the shit no one else will. And apparently, that job's mine. Until then, Wolfpack listeners, stay skeptical, stay focused, and most of all, stay hopeful.